Sons of Scorpio Book 2 of Dre Prescott series on the planet Kregan, a planet of the Antares star system in the constellation of Scorpio. It is the second volume in the Delian cycle. After being exiled to Earth, Dre Prescott lands in Lisbon. Prescott later fights in the Battle of Waterloo and eventually makes his way to India, where he is quickly brought back to Kregan by the Star-Lord's intervention. While a young couple is being attacked by rock apes, Prescott comes to Kregan unarmed and nude to save them, but the pair is unappreciative and leaves without saying thank you. Although Prescott wasn't sure at the time, the Tides of Kregan Book 12 would later clarify the significance of this incident. He spends the next few days working with the Todelpheme, an order that is responsible for calculating Kregan's intricate tides. He finds that he's been dispatched to Turismon, a continent west of Segestes, the only route between the open ocean and the eye of the world. An interior site like the Mediterranean Sea is an old, possibly man-made canal located far to the west of this continent. Through an old dam at the western end, the native Todelpheme are trusted to close the canal in the event of a strong storm. Sensing that he was brought back to Kregan for a reason, Prescott chooses to go along the northern shore of the Eye of the World rather than searching for Delia, who does not appear in the story, out of fear of being banished back to Earth. Eventually, he is kidnapped, sold into slavery, and brought to Magdag to serve as a scribe for the local brickworks. He learned that Magdag is the chief city of the northern shore and dedicated to the god Grodno and Genedras, the green sun of Kregan. The southern shore in turn worships the god Zaire and the red sun Zim. The two sides are locked in a long-standing small-scale conflict, with the north defined by an autocratic society ruled by overlords, employing mostly half-human mercenaries, and relying on slaves for labor, while the south enjoys a somewhat freer society, which however is also more intolerant of half-humans. Prescott is trickily transported to the galleys as an ore slave after he declines to participate in a slave uprising. There, he makes friends with several people from the south. Prescott breaks free and slows down the galley when it is attacked by another one from the south, saving himself and his allies in the process. He is brought to Synopsis, the sacred city of the south, where he makes friends with the ship's captain, Perzenican, a crosier of Zai, an elite fighting order from the south. Dre Prescott goes on to become a prosperous galley commander and is finally selected to undergo training to become a crosier. He is accepted into the order after a year of training, and he goes on to have success in his raiding career against the northern ships. Prescott is spared from certain death in an ambush by Tavalians, Vomanus, Delia's half-brother, who was sent to find Prescott at the time and was unknown to Prescott, and Kovthuru of Vindelka. After she has gone back to Valia, she dispatches agents to find Dre Prescott. He sets out to sail to Valia, but on his way there, a galley from Magdag raids the merchant ship he is on, and Prescott is abducted against his will under the guise of Drac, Cove of Delphin Cove being a noble title akin to the earthly duke. While waiting for a ship to transport him to Valia, Prescott spends time with the Magdag nobility and reconnects with former slave allies in order to organize a rebellion. Prescott creates new weaponry and trains the slaves in preparation for a rebellion. He is taken prisoner after being betrayed by two of his slave buddies out of jealousy for a slave girl. He is identified as a crosier, but Princess Sasheen, a noblewoman who is in love with him, helps him escape. Slaves rise during the Great Death when the Crimson Sun Zim eclipses the Green Sun Genderus. The overlords of Magdag carry out their rituals while dressed in crimson. The slaves dead up in revolt and appear to be triumphant. However, Dre Prescott is once more taken away by the Star Lords in the midst of victory, and he discovers later that the revolt was put down as a result of his departure. Thus, ends Book 2.